So to continue my countdown to Yule, I had a look at the story of Frau Holl, also known as Mother Holder or Mother Holly, which I thought was interesting. She was known as the Dark Grandmother or the White Lady, which I assume is probably in reference to her white hair. Excuse me, I'm just stroking a moo dog down here, you know how cheeky she can be. So there is a grim fairy tale associated with Mother Holder. So I'll switch into storyteller teller mode and just give you a little story on that. So once upon a time, a long, long time ago, as these stories always go, there was a mother with two daughters. One was a stepdaughter and one was her biological daughter. Her biological daughter was ugly and lazy. Stepdaughter, pretty and industrious. And the stepdaughter used to love to go and sit down by the well and do her spinning. One day she pricked her finger on the spinning thing. I can't remember the name of it, but anyway, she pricked her finger and dropped the spindle down the well. So she went to fetch the spindle and found herself in the land of Mother Holder. As she walked through the land, being such a kind and generous girl, she would help people out along the way. And when she arrived at Frau Holder's home, Frau Holder asked her if she could help with a few tasks. One of those tasks was shaking out the pillows, for which Mother Holder is very well known, as goof feathers fly everywhere. But she became homesick, so Mother Holder helped her find her way home. And as a gift, as a reward for her kindness and generosity, every time she opened her mouth, gold would spring from her lips. The stepmother, being a little jealous. Can you see the relation of this story with any other fairy tales you might know? Sent her own daughter, biological daughter, down to the well with hopes that her own daughter would be blessed with such a gift. And again she dropped her spindle down the well and followed it down just as her sister had done. But when she reached the land, being a selfish and lazy girl, she helped no one, and she certainly did not help Frau Holder. Sorry, trying to get a little mood to stop being a little attention-seeking twat, so I'm going to carry on scratching her anyway. So she was sent home after being lazy and refusing to help, and she was then cursed with a toad springing from her lips every time she spoke. So this little story relates to some of the older tales of Frau Holder. She was considered a friendly, kind and gracious goddess, and this is all throughout the Germanic and Scandinavian region. Even stories I found relating to France and Southern Europe, as a lot of these stories do, and spread, obviously, as mankind travelled around. So she dwells at the bottom of wells, you know, and she taught mankind, or women, the craft of spinning and making linen, so she's very much linked with spinning. And there are several tales of her in the Alpine regions of sort of punishing those who were not spinning or being lazy with their spinning, and she would beat them with stinging nettles. You know, which again reminds me of a tale of I think it was the 12 brides for 12 brothers or something, where she had to spin the nettles into jumpers. Anywho, I can't remember that one. That was just something that just popped into my head. Anyway, so her oldest consideration as a goddess is that she would take care of children that died as infants. And this relates quite similarly to Hecate, who also takes on sort of lost souls and dead children, you know. So you can see how these things sort of interlink, you know. She also appears, because the folk tale carried on throughout the Christian era, so she also appears as part of the 12 days of Christmas. And as the old saying goes, when the snow falls, it's Frau Holle shaking out her pillows filled with goose feathers, so she's also linked with geese. Other goddesses that I thought maybe she could be linked with, since she sort of lives in the mountains and meadows, and Diana, Artemis, we've already mentioned Hecate, even Skadi. And there's a old tale here in Britain, Old Mother Shipton, who lived in caves and helped out villagers and stuff, and had a lot of animals and geese around her. So I thought, you know, perhaps that's where these tales originate from, older women, witches of the area that started these tales. Anywho, So also the celebration of the wild hunt, still now, as they do it in modern day, includes Frau Holle. And in the Christian tradition, she's linked to the Virgin Mary, or the Queen of Heaven. So obviously it was kind of adopted to continue that, because we don't like to let go of our old tales, do we? So adopted by the church and sort of transformed into a figure that was perhaps more palatable for sort of diehard Orthodox Christians. But anywho, yes, and I found this in a 13th century text. It says, in the night of Christ's nativity, they set the table for the Queen of Heaven, whom the people call Frau Holl, that she might help them, because of course she was a kind and helpful figure. And she punishes the lazy and rewards the virtuous. They even considered that now during more Christian and modern celebrations. So Frau Holl, or Frau Holde, linked with winter, because when she shakes out her pillows, the snow falls. And still celebrated today, both in traditional and in Christian celebrations. So, yeah, that's Frau Holl. And once again, have a happy Yule. And I hope she doesn't shake her pillows too hard where you live. See you on the next one, lovies.